You pick FLUX 3 for a project, get locked out of early access, and your deadline passes, while Veo 3.1 was sitting there, ready to go, the whole time. FLUX 3 is betting on open weights and long native audio, and Veo 3.1 is Google's production-ready answer, and only one of them you can actually use right now. Alright, one of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. So, test 1 is cost. You want it to budget a batch of 8-second clips at scale, so you go look up FLUX 3's per second rate, and there's no official price page, just a bunch of third-party resellers with listings that start around $9.80 a month and climb past $49.90 a month, and you have no idea what you're actually committing to. I pulled both pricing pages side by side, and Veo 3.1 is super clear. $19.98 a month for Pro, $249.99 for Ultra, and an API rate of $0.40 per second for quality. So an 8-second clip runs you $3.20, right there on the page. FLUX 3 has none of that, only community-reported third-party numbers, which means you can't do a true per-shot comparison today. FLUX 3 takes cost because that third-party entry point beats Veo 3.1's $19.99 floor. So if raw entry price is your only filter, FLUX 3 is cheaper on paper, and that puts FLUX 3 up 1-0. Though I'll be straight with you, it's a win built on reseller listings, not an official rate. I've spent enough time digging through model pricing pages to know when a missing number is a red flag and not just an oversight, so drop a comment if the no official price thing has burned you on a project too. Okay, so test 2 is coding benchmarks, and I know what you're thinking. You saw both of these in a comparison and figured maybe one of them scores on a coding leaderboard somewhere. But the hard truth is, neither FLUX 3 nor Veo 3.1 is a code model. So there are literally 0 coding benchmarks to look at for either of them. I went looking for any published coding benchmark data for both models, and there's nothing to find, because FLUX 3 is a multimodal foundation model covering image, video, audio, and action prediction, and Veo 3.1 is purely video generation, so coding just isn't a dimension either of these was built for, and this whole test is a non-starter for both. This one's off the board entirely since neither model touches code, so the dimension just doesn't count. And the score stays FLUX 3.1, Veo 3.1, 0, with one dimension dropped. Now, test 3 is speed. And you're on a deadline, so you need to know how long you'll be staring at a loading bar for an 8-second clip. Veo 3.1 publishes 3 tiers with documented generation times, and FLUX 3 has no published generation time anywhere, which is a real problem when you're trying to plan a production schedule. What got me is how transparent Veo 3.1 is here. Light spits out an 8-second clip in 8 to 15 seconds. Fast lands in 25 to 45 seconds. And quality takes 60 to 180 seconds. All community-reported numbers that at least exist. FLUX 3 has no equivalent data published anywhere, so you're going in blind on every render. Veo 3.1 takes speed because it's the only one that actually tells you how fast it is. And that's worth a lot when you're planning work. So that ties the board at 1 apiece with 1 dimension dropped. Okay, so the board is tied and we've still got output limits and deployment coming up. And those 2 tests are where the real difference between FLUX 3 and Veo 3.1 actually lives. Because a 20-second single-pass clip sounds great until you find out what happens when you need a 2-minute narrative and the model you picked can't get you there. So test 4 is context and output limits, and the scenario is this. You're producing a 2-minute brand video, and you need the model to hold a consistent scene across the whole thing. If your tool caps out at 8 seconds per clip with no reliable chaining, you're stitching together 20+ individual renders yourself and hoping the lighting matches between them, which is hours of cleanup on a job that should take minutes. I didn't expect the single pass numbers to split this cleanly. FLUX 3 claims 20 seconds with synchronized audio in one pass, which is the longest native single clip claim out there right now. But that's vendor claimed and not independently verified yet. While Veo 3.1 caps at 8 seconds per clip but chains up to 20 clips for 140 seconds of continuous narrative, and that chaining is documented by Google. Veo 3.1 takes output limits because 20 clip chaining to verified longform beats a 20-second single pass claim that nobody outside Black Forest Labs has confirmed yet, and that puts Veo 3.1 ahead 2-1 with one dimension dropped. Test 5 is deployment and modality, and the objection I keep hearing is that FLUX 3 is multimodal, so it's the more powerful tool. Covering image, video, audio, and action prediction from one model does sound great, but if you can't actually get access to it today because it's still early access, that breadth means nothing for your current project. Line these up on availability, and it's pretty stark. Veo 3.1 is generally available right now across Gemini, the API, and Flow, with Synth ID watermarking baked in, while FLUX 3 is early access only through the API and Discord, with OpenWeight's dev backbone planned for later, which is a genuinely exciting roadmap, but it's a promise, not a product you can ship with today. Veo 3.1 wins deployment because it's live everywhere, and FLUX 3 is not, and that's the whole call. So Veo 3.1 takes it 3-1 with one dimension dropped, and that's your final scoreboard. FLUX 3 wins on 3 concrete things. Entry price is lower via third-party platforms. The single pass, clip length claim of 20 seconds with synced audio is the longest of any model right now, and the OpenWeight's dev backbone planned for self-hosters is a genuinely big deal if you want to run this on your own infrastructure. Veo 3.1 wins on reliability and reach. Published API pricing at $0.40 per second, so you can actually budget tiered generation times you can plan a schedule around. 20 clip scene chaining for narratives that run well past 2 minutes. And it's generally available today across Gemini, the API, and Flow with Synth ID watermarking on every output. If you need to ship video today, pick Veo 3.1 because it's live, it's priced, and it chains to 140 seconds. But if you're a self-hoster willing to wait for FLUX 3's dev waits and you're okay with third-party access in the meantime, FLUX 3 is worth watching, and the winner changes the moment FLUX 3's OpenWeights drop, and its 20-second audio claim gets independently verified. One thing that doesn't show up in any of the docs, Veo 3.1 Fast only supports up to 3 reference images per generation, while FLUX 3 accepts up to 10. So if your workflow depends on feeding in a full visual style guide with multiple character sheets, background references, and lighting samples, Veo 3.1 fast cuts you off at 3, and you won't find that limit until it breaks your pipeline. So if you're trying to figure out whether Google's video tools are actually worth the subscription cost, I just put out a full breakdown on Claude Opus 4.8, which is a different model category, but the same question. Is it still worth using when cheaper options are catching up fast? And I think the answer might surprise you.